Yeah, we're going to what's going to say? I'll go over to see.
and subsidiaries or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Testimonial Monday. Our topic for today is keeping the faith through a breast cancer diagnosis. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Rizal and I talked about double standards. Should they even exist in a relationship? Go over to YouTube, type in Intellectual Radio, and stay connected for any shows that you may have missed. The quote of the day is coming from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Faith is taking the step. Faith is taking, that is the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Let me read that again. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. We are grateful for our sponsors. We have Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay, and she's catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. We have Paula Kelly with Allstate, and she's fulfilling all of your beauty needs in one place, all of your insurance needs in one place. And then we have MyLeah Symone with affordable book editing services, and she's giving you editing services without skimping on quality. Pastor Michael Richardson with the Emanuel C.O.G.I.C. You can get your spiritual food every Sunday morning at 10:15 a.m. on Facebook. And let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C. at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson, and we're from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Here are your trending topics for today. Chicago public school officials canceled classes this Friday in hopes that students will, on their day off, get their COVID-19 vaccine shots. A letter went home to parents on last Thursday, letting them know that schools will be closed on November the 12th for Vaccination Awareness Day. According to the Center for Disease Control, children ages 5 through 11 are eligible to receive their vaccines. Those are your trending topics for today. If you are tuned in on any form of social media, I encourage you to like, share the show, and invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. My special guest today is an advocate with Living Beyond Breast Cancer, a volunteer with the Young Survivor Coalition. Along with her family, she participates in the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure annually, the founder of Touch of Grace Foundation, an organization that helps educate and support young women affected by breast cancer. She's excited about giving back to her community and also about what God is doing in her life. Welcome to Warriors Talk, Gaynelle Wright. Hello, Gaynelle.
Thank you. Hello. I'm excited to be here.
I am excited to hear your story. Thank you so much for coming on and just your willingness to share.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm ecstatic.
Awesome. So our topic today is keeping the faith through a breast cancer diagnosis. And we have breast cancer survivor Gaynelle Wright that's on, and she's going to share a snippet of her journey with us. And then she's going to also talk about her organization. So Gaynelle, we're just going to jump right into this conversation. And
okay.
My first question to you is, what was your introduction to cancer?
What was my introduction to cancer?
Yes.
Well, my journey actually started at age 35. I'm going to tell you that much. I had some lesions that was coming on my breast. I went to my doctor. I went to my gynecologist, and I just felt like that she didn't listen to me. She didn't listen to me. I started having mammograms at age 35, which was very young because mammograms are not actually required until age 40. So at 35, I started having mammograms because of the lesion that was on my breast. She just kept telling me that I had fibrocystic breast, and cut down on the caffeine, cut down on the tea, cut down on the chocolate. But I didn't feel like she listened to me. At 37, she did another mammogram. I was having all these symptoms. Nobody could find out what was wrong. I was going to different doctors. Nobody was listening. My vitamin D level was low, and different things in that nature. They never could find out what was going on with me. Not knowing that low levels of vitamin D is increased risk for cancer or the progression of cancer or any long-term health problem. But no, they just couldn't know what was going on. Finally, at 39, I had another mammogram. Like I said, they didn't find anything. They called me, let me go back. They thought they saw something, then they called me back to have another mammogram to check it, and then they said it was negative. There was nothing there, but it was something there. She just didn't listen to my symptoms. Finally, at 41, I had a busy lifestyle in nursing school. I was just working a full-time job. And at 40, I did not have a mammogram, but at 41, I did have a mammogram. And it was at 41 that the mass was detected. At that point, she sent me to a surgeon. The surgeon was the one who actually diagnosed the cancer. But I didn't stay with that surgeon because he didn't know enough for me. All he could tell me was that it was aggressive. That wasn't enough for me. So I wanted to get a second opinion. I got a second opinion. I went to another doctor. I actually went to another clinic, and they had a triple negative. I have triple negative breast cancer, and I was diagnosed at 41 years of age. They had a triple negative specialty at that particular clinic, and he could answer the questions that I had. They didn't know a lot about triple negative at this point. Nobody knew what it was. All they could tell you was that it was aggressive, and they didn't know how to treat it. That was the issue. It was just, they didn't know what was driving it. It wasn't hormone driven. So they didn't know what was driving this cancer. It was just aggressive. That's all they could tell you. But I joined a study. I was hesitant about joining this study, but I did join a study. I joined a study where they did neoadjacent chemotherapy. I had carboplatin and Abraxane. And I also had, and once I had 21 doses of chemotherapy. The mass was only about 1.5 centimeters, but because of the aggressiveness of the mass, that was the issue. I wasn't worried at that point. I wasn't afraid because I knew that God had always been with me. He had always provided for me. He had always taken care of me. And sometimes you get a little leery, when you're going through things of this nature, but you have to have a good support system. And I had that. I had a good family support system. My friends were there. They went to chemo with me every week that I had chemo, they were there with me. So I had a very good support system. At that point, I lost my job. I was financially burdened. So I had a lot of issues going on. And that's one reason why I'm starting my foundation, which I will talk about a little bit later. Because I don't want other people to feel like they're out there alone, because you're not. There's hundreds of people that still going through what you're going through, But once I had my neoadjacent chemotherapy, I had radiation. Once I got ready to have my surgery, I ended up having a lumpectomy. And I wanted to have my breast taken off. I'm going to be honest, because I felt like I just needed to have that done. But that didn't get done. It's 10 years later, and I'm still saying, thank you, Jesus. God has been gracious to me. He has been good, and I'm not complaining. But I did want to have a mastectomy, but I didn't have that done. But like I said, 10 years later, I'm still, but God, I got a but God in me. I'm still confessing. I had neoadjacent chemotherapy and radiation, like I said. And when they got ready to do the surgery, there was nothing there, nothing. No mass, the margins was clear. I mean, there was nothing. And I know that was nothing but God. I lost my hair, and I wasn't confident enough not to wear a wig. So I wore a wig. At this point that I am now, I'm very confident. So I could rock that hair ball. But at that point, I wasn't confident enough. So I wore a wig, but God gave me back that hair and some. So I can only say how good He's been to me. That is one thing that I can't stress on. I can't just stress on how good God has been to me. But my journey hasn't been easy. I'm not gonna say it's been easy. It hasn't. Every day is a new day. One thing that I live by is live, love, and learn. And I love those words, because life is to be lived. We are to live life. I didn't start living until after my diagnosis. After I started getting involved, I've been more places now than I have in my whole life. I've met other survivors. We've gone on girl trips. We've gone to New York, New Jersey, DC, places that I've never gone before. So I actually didn't start living until after my diagnosis. And I can honestly say that.
So, Gaynelle, when you hear the words life after cancer, to you, that means when you started living, like a lot of people.
I started living. Yeah. That's right. I started living. You're right. I have always been like, what do you want to call it? The caretaker. I've always been like the caretaker of my family. Okay, taking care of everyone, but not taking care of me. So, I mean, it wasn't until after my diagnosis that I actually started living, that I started living life. That was one of the things, my prayer to God was that, Lord, I don't want to leave this earth and not have lived life. Life is to be lived. So I didn't want to leave here without living life.
I totally agree with you. Gaynelle, I just want to go back to you talking about at the age of 35. When you, in your mind, did you think it was breast cancer when you were?
No, I didn't. No. That was the last thing in my mind, was that it was breast cancer. No. But I knew something wasn't right. I knew something was wrong. But did I think it was breast cancer? No, not at all.
Was it because you were 35?
Well, I had no family history of breast cancer. Not that, okay, I've learned to see, but I had nobody in my family ever had breast cancer. They've had other types of cancer, but no breast cancer. So I was the first to ever be diagnosed in my family with breast cancer.
Did a doctor ever say, I'm sorry, did a doctor ever say, that's okay. Did the doctor ever say to you, have you ever heard that even if it's not breast cancer in your family, if somebody has cancer in the family, then cancer is in the family?
Yes,
and it puts you at increased risk.
Yes. And that was the reason that they did the mammogram at 35, because of the increased family risk, because of the increased family history of breast cancer. That was the age they did it at 35. And that was the age they did it at 37 because of the increased family risk. Yes, I was aware of that. That's why I stayed up. I stayed up under the doctors. You know, I went to my exams, my annual exams. But at this point, I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was. And I knew that she wasn't listening to me because I was having like the hot flashes. I was having, you know, and she was like, well, you're too young for menopause. Yeah, I'm too young for menopause, but there's something going on. And I'm having like the headaches and I can't remember things. You know, I'm losing my keys and, you know, just simple stuff. I'm having pains in my arm, you know, and I'm going to a neurologist and I'm going, you know, to my primary doctor and I'm going to all these different doctors and nobody can tell me what's wrong. You know, I felt relieved when I was diagnosed because at least I know what's wrong and at least I can try to fight it or do something about it, you know, because when you don't know what's going on, you have no idea, then, you know, you don't know. There's nothing you can really do. But when you kind of know what's going on, you can prepare and you can do something about it.
I totally agree with you. I mean, you don't know what action to take if you don't know what the enemy is. So once you were diagnosed and you knew what the enemy looked like, felt like, and you knew what type of weapons to put together, what type of plan to put together to destroy it.
That's right.
It sounds
That's right.
it sounds kind of weird when you say it though, when you say, you know, you were relieved, but it gave you the chance to say, okay, let's go to war. Now I know what I have to fight.
You know what? Those were my words exactly. Let me put my gloves on. Let's go to war. Now what I need to do. Okay, so what's next? You know, I was determined to fight. I was, you know, I'm a fighter. I was determined to fight. I was determined to live. You know, I was not going to die. At that point, I was determined to live. It didn't matter how aggressive that mass was. I was determined to live. Like I said, God has always provided for me, and He told me, you're gonna live. I never forget. I had a patient. I went to work that night, and I had a patient, and me and my patient were talking, and she knew that that there was like stress on me. She knew it because she was a minister, and she just saw it on me. And I told her what was wrong, and you know what she said? She told me, don't go. You know, don't you go running out, you know, insurance policies. God is your policy. You know, she just knew, she could just see me and what was going on in me. And right then at that moment, you know, I just said, you're right. God is my policy. Not that I didn't prepare myself. You know, I'm just saying she woke up something in me to let me know that God had always been there for me. And He was my policy.
Yes. Lisa Adams. Lisa Adams says, yes, the connection with God is priceless. King says, yes, she totally agrees with you. Lisa said, life is for the living. We're supposed to be living, not
we're supposed to be living. It's not about how many times you fall down. It's about getting up. You know, you got to get up. It's not about how many times you fall down. You know, it's about getting up. It's about triumphing.
Absolutely.
That's what this journey is about. You know, I'm so excited at where I am right now in my life and what God is doing right now in my life. It's awesome. It's unbelievable. You know, I would have never thought 10 years later from now that I would be progressing. I would be doing what I'm doing. You know, I just felt like my dreams were shattered. You know, my hopes were gone. You know, but they were not. I've gone back to school since then. I've done. You know, I was just living life.
So why now, Gaynelle? Why share your story now?
It's time. You know, I stand on Jeremiah 29:11. I stand on that. You know, for I know the plans that I have for you. Yes. The prosper you not come, you give you a hope in the future. It's time. He said it's time. So I have to walk in that. I have to be obedient. This position right now, this foundation, this Touch of Grace Foundation is brand new. I'm just starting this foundation. I want to educate. I want to support. I want to help financially. I want to get out into my community and help. Okay, we're still at a disadvantage in our community. And when I say that, I'm talking about in the Black community, okay? We are, I mean, just being honest, but I want to help. I want to get out and do more. So this foundation is going to allow me to do that. And it's going to bring everything that I ever wanted to do to pass, which was help. That's why I became a nurse. I always wanted to help people. That was like my desire to help. Be able. I mean, that's my calling. You know, I'm a servant at heart.
Lisa Adams says, "Congratulations on reinventing yourself."
Yes. And that's exactly what I'm doing. You know, life is a journey. We have to surround ourselves with the right people. You know, my favorite words all the time. I always, lately I've been just, you know, I just can't thank God enough for what he's doing and what he's done and what he's about to do.
I had another question, Gaynelle. Like you were a nurse, right? And
yeah.
And
I wasn't a nurse, but I was an LPN during the time that I was an LPN at the time of my diagnosis. I had gone back to school to become an RN, but I had just finished nursing school. Just finished.
How did that affect your mind, knowing that, you know, this is what you want to do? You want to service, you want to help people, and here you are now in that seat, needing that same exact help.
Not only that, I was a hospice nurse at one point.
Oh, wow.
Yes, ma'am. I worked in hospice for years. Loved it. Just, you know, and but I didn't go back to hospice. I just couldn't do that. That was a little too much for me. But I was still able to go back into nursing and be able to give and be able to help people. But it was, you know, God, nothing happens on purpose. So I mean, I just believe that it was for me to open me up, to open my eyes up. You know, but prior to that, I wasn't really engaged with cancer patients, to be honest. I was engaged in helping patients, but I didn't understand. Now it gives me an understanding. It gives me so I can be more sympathetic. You know what I'm saying? That my heart opened up.
And they need that. They really need that. I mean, like the cold dispositions that some of the medical staff have, you know, it makes you feel like you have no hope. But to have someone who can identify with it firsthand, you know, that to me, that's a good thing when you're treating somebody.
It is. It's an awesome thing. It's an awesome thing. It really is.
Gaynelle, I want to go back to, you talked about your support system and how awesome your support system was to you when you were going through. And we know that a support system is very vital to anyone that's fighting cancer. Do you feel that some people let pride get in the way when it comes to a support system, when it comes to accepting and asking for help?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I definitely think that they let pride get in the way. Yeah. Yes, I definitely feel that they let pride get in the way. And pride can be dangerous. That's dangerous. Pride itself can be dangerous. But I had to learn how to accept help as well. I did. I had to humble myself. And it's about humbling yourself. You have to humble yourself. You know, God bless people to bless you. God put people in positions to help you. And you have to humble yourself. And not everybody, you know, my pastor, we were on he's on a series right now, and it's about I quit. I quit. It's about doing less so that God can do more. It's about I quit complaining. You know, it's about I quit comparing myself. You know, I quit making excuses. And this is really hitting home. And this it's something that we all need to think about. Doing less so that God can do more.
Totally
and yes,
agree.
pride.
Kenya Brown said that was her. She was very prideful because she was the one used to helping others and not the one receiving the help.
Right.
I wanted to go to a question that Kenya asked. She talked about your diet. She wants to know, did you change anything and with your diet? And also, what advice can you give to others who have been diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer?
Well, to be honest, Kenya, I'm still working on that diet. I'll go be totally honest. I have not gotten to the point. I don't eat a whole lot of meat, but I want to become a vegetarian, but I'm not there yet. I want to become plant-based, but I'm not there yet. That's my goal, to get there, but I'm not there yet. But of course, diet plays a big part. And so that's something that we do need to look at is our diets. Sweets. I used to have a thing for sweets. That was like my downfall was sweets. And, sweet is the worst thing you could eat, as a survivor, as a cancer patient is, sweets, you just don't want to do that. But I'm still working on, but I can say that I have changed my diet habits. Yes, I have.
I think it's a lifestyle. So I don't like
it is a lifestyle. It is.
I don't like to use the word diet because diet is like it comes and it goes. But a lifestyle, that's something forever. Yeah. So you have to not overwhelm yourself. You have to take it one day at a time. Just
one day at a time.
Making those making those healthy selections, and don't be so hard on yourself. Just cut back a little bit, get that exercise in there. Were you doing more exercise?
And that's important. Yes, that's important. I just changed. My position changed. Now I'm in a position where I can go, and 30 minutes I can go do my exercise in the workout room, and I'm so grateful for that. So, and I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, God.
Yes, it's so important to get moving when it comes to this cancer. Exercise is one of those things that will help you really decrease your risk and keep cancer at bay. So you have to use all the tools that you have to help fight this beast. All the tools,
and in early detection, I think early detection still plays a key. And we just have to, early detection is the key. We can't control everything that happens in our life, but it's how we respond to it. And early detection is the key. And, I looked at some, and they've got some new innovative stuff coming out now. And they, back when I was diagnosed, which was 10 years ago, they basically didn't know what it was. They didn't, it just looked ugly. It was just aggressive. They didn't have a whole lot of treatment options. So that, you had a lot of people dying because they didn't know how to treat them. They wasn't responding to the treatment therapy that they was giving them. But now they've got, that immunotherapy plus chemo, neoadjacent, which is before and after. So the treatment options have widened. So, that's great. And now they've got a new blood test out, but of course, insurance won't pay for it. Galleria, that in the blood test, this particular blood test will detect aggressive types of cancers, like your ovarian cancers, your cancers that's hard to detect. But that test is like $1,000, and insurance won't pay for it. But now they've got some, new innovative things out now.
Yeah, I think it will be a good investment, especially if you have a family history.
Family history, that's right.
If you have that
family history.
Yes, if you have that hereditary link, I think it would be a good investment because that's something you can mark off of your list. Like, you know, I got that done. And it's all about taking action. You mentioned the early detection piece, and early detection is key. I always say early detection plus action, because a lot of times, you know, people get that early detection, but then they'll do a stall tactic because they don't believe what's happening to them. So a lot of times we're trying to find answers to what's going on with us and how to address it. So early detection plus action is key. If you're just tuning in, this is Lady ReShell with Warriors Talk. We are live on Intellectual Radio, and we're talking about keeping the faith through a breast cancer diagnosis with breast cancer survivor and advocate, Gaynelle Wright. And we're talking about family history and how important it is to know what's going on in your family so that you can take that information and give it to your doctor and come up with a plan on what you can do as it relates to your cancer risk. So Gaynelle, I know a lot of us who were diagnosed with cancer, we have this why me moment. Did you have that moment during your journey?
I did not. I did not say why me. I did not. That was one thing I didn't do. I didn't question. I didn't ask why me, because why not me? I didn't have that moment.
What was your relationship? I'm sorry. What was your relationship before the cancer diagnosis with God, and how did it shift?
I had a strong relationship prior to the cancer diagnosis. Yeah, he's always been faithful. He's always been there. He's always provided for me, and I can say that. So I had a strong relationship prior to, and I still have that strong relationship. Now, I'm way from perfect. Don't get me wrong. We're going to be always striving to get there while we're here on this earth. But I had a strong relationship prior to, and I still have that strong relationship now.
Did you have a encounter, and I don't know, I think you might have mentioned it, to where you felt like, I know I'm going to make it through this journey, and even though I still have to go through this process, that I know I'm going to make it?
Yeah, I did. I felt like I knew I was going to make it. I just felt like I was going to make it, that he was going to bring me through. Yes, I did. I didn't have a doubt about it.
How important is it, Gaynelle, to be your own health advocate?
It is so important. You got to be your own health advocate. We have the right to participate in our care. Okay, it's a partnership.
Love it.
And we have a right, and we have to be our own advocate. That is so important, because they don't always listen. You know, they're so busy, and I'm talking about doctors. They're so busy. They're going from one patient room to the next patient room. They don't have the time. So you have to be your own advocate. You've got to get involved. You got to know your body. You got to know when something's wrong. And don't give up until they figure out what it is.
I agree. You have to keep pushing, because like you were 35, and a lot of times at 35, you know, you come in there and you tell them you have issues with your breast. They try to push you off. You're young.
Yeah, you too young. You too young. And it's always, it's forever. It's weight issues. I don't care what your weight is, but it's forever weight issues. Or you too young, you know, to have these issues. You're not too young. No, you're not.
Still push.
And no matter, you know, and it doesn't matter what you're going through or what you're dealing with in life. God already knows. He knows. That's why we have to do less so we can do more.
I love it. Yeah, I talked to a lot of ladies that were diagnosed with breast cancer. And one of the things that kind of connected everybody was that they talked about stress factor. Like right before they were diagnosed, they talked about having like a stressful life, up until their diagnosis. Did you experience anything like that?
I had a busy life. I'm going to be honest. Yes, I had a busy life. It was not stressed. Well, it was busy. It was very busy. I was in school. I was full-time in nursing school. So I can't say, I guess it was stressful. This nursing school was stressful. Because they make it like that. But I was full-time in nursing school. So I guess the education, that part of it was stressful. But I was just busy. I was just busy working in school. I was just busy running, always doing for everybody, but not taking care of me.
Wow. Kenya says she can't stress enough. Advocate for yourself. Let your voice be heard. It's so important.
Oh, yes. Yes. Now I live life with no regret. No regret.
Yes. Gaynelle, is it really possible to keep the faith when you're going through a breast cancer or any type of cancer diagnosis?
It is possible because, listen, on this journey of life, we're just passing through. This is not our home. We're going to leave this earth. We can't stay here. So you have to be right with your maker. In other words, you got to get your relationship right with God. We're just passing through. This is not our home. We're not here to stay. Only God knows when it's time, but we're not here to stay. We can't stay on this earth. So this is not our home. So you have to prepare yourself and get ready and get right. Because, we don't know. And you don't just have to have, and this is not just for people that have been affected with cancer, or this is for anybody, because nobody knows. Tomorrow's not promised.
I totally agree. We should be living life.
We're supposed to be living life.
Yes.
That's right. And enjoying life. That's one thing that I just didn't want to leave this earth and not to be able to say that I lived life. Because I wasn't living life.
You were living to die instead of dying to live. Like a lot of times we're just living to die.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's sad. That's sad.
Let's talk about the organization, Gaynelle, because I want you to get that information in there so that if anybody out there need this type of assistance, that they know where to go. So what gave you the idea to actually put this together?
I wanted to, because when I was trying to get assistance, I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any in Alabama. I had to go out of the state of Alabama to get some assistance from different organizations. And that's what led me, because they didn't have very many organizations that help patients while they were going through, while they're going through their diagnosis, while they're going through. They help with mammograms, they help with awareness type things, but they did not, there was very few that helped you while you were going through. That's a stressful time. And if you don't have the right support system, for some, it's more stressful than others. So I wanted to be able to give back to some people that were going through, having a hard time, needed some support, that didn't have any support. They just needed somebody to create a group that we can all support one another, to let you know you're not out here by yourself. Even though you might seem like you on an island by yourself, you're not.
I always say your family can only take you so far as it relates to a cancer diagnosis. If they haven't been diagnosed, if they haven't went through the treatment, they only can take you so far with it. You have to get around, some individuals who has been through it, and they know firsthand, you know, the devastation that this disease causes, and they're able to identify with you, they're able to sympathize with you, you know, and just give you that encouragement and that hope you need to keep going.
That is so true. That is so true. Because I really got out of my shell once I got around those other survivor sisters. And actually, LBBC was the organization that put us together. And they put us together, and we worked on different projects, and we went different places. But they put us together. And I am still friends with those ladies to this day. One, we talk quite frequently, and but I'm still friends with them to this day. And I met them through LBBC advocacy program, and I was glad to meet them. I mean, I love those sisters just like they were my sister. And I needed that. I needed to get around other people that were going through things that I was going through. Somebody that knew what I was going through, and I knew what they were going through. Now, in a sense, in other words.
So it's important to see people that look like you, that's going through what you're going through.
It is. It's very important. Yes, it is. I have to say so.
What would you say to someone who feel like, Gaynelle, that they have lost their faith because of a cancer diagnosis?
Never lose your faith. No matter what you're going through, never lose your faith. You got to get back in that word. You got to never lose your faith. I never lost my faith. You got to see yourself healed.
Yes.
You got to see it.
Yes.
Never lose your faith. You've got to see it.
I love that. You do. And that's so important to actually see yourself and picture yourself healed. Then you have something to strive for, something to fight for. Because if you don't see it, then you don't believe it. You don't believe that it can happen. So that's so important. I love that. That's so important.
It is.
Kenya Brown says that you guys definitely have to connect. She says she does not mind traveling.
That's wonderful. Okay. Now I'm going to meet me some new survivor sisters and be all excited. I love meeting new people.
Yes. It's important.
Yeah.
I mean, just
do some wonderful things. Live life, some trips.
Yes. Kenya is the founder of the We Care 2 agency, and not only does she spread awareness about breast cancer, but she's out there on the front line feeding the homeless. She's supplying them with toiletries. The other day, she supplied them with food, and I think yesterday she gave them toiletries and she gave them comforters because she knows that it's about to get cold out here. So, she's out there just, meeting the needs of the community. So y'all definitely need to connect. I think that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I would really like that. Yeah, because my thing is we have to get involved. We have to get involved. Mm-hmm. We have to get involved. And we do. Yeah, we have to get involved.
Yeah, in whatever way, whatever capacity that you can give back. Once you have that cancer diagnosis, I don't know how anybody, Gaynelle, could just sit on that. You have to. God didn't leave you here for you to keep it to yourself.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Like I said, this was my first live interview that I had actually given. Now, I encourage people on my job that I've just gone through cancer, I've encouraged them. I told them my story, to encourage them, to give them hope, but to reach out, to actually give an interview. This was my first. I was excited about it. I was excited when you reached out to me, and I'm excited about giving more. And like I said, I was like, oh my God, I know this is great. This is God.
Yes. Lisa Adams said, see it and feel it. I was excited too.
Oh, yes.
I love it. I was excited to get in, especially when I found out that Warriors Talk is the first to get this story. So I'm excited. I'm grateful. Yes, I'm grateful for that because it's important. It's important for individuals, like we said, that look like us and that's looking for that piece of hope to help them to continue fighting. And when they hear stories like yours at the age of 35 and how you continue to advocate for yourself until you was able to get something done, you know, it just gives individuals, you know, that piece that, you know, you don't have to give up. Don't allow people to just shove you off and make you think you crazy because you feel like something is wrong with you. Keep advocating for yourself.
Yes. Yes. So this, I never went back to that gynecologist neither. I never went back to her. I actually, I changed doctors. I never saw her again. I actually called to her office to speak with her nurse to tell her how I felt. She never returned my phone call.
Because she knew.
Yeah, she knew. Mm-hmm. She knew it. She never returned my phone call to this day. I never saw her again. I never went back to her. Mm-hmm.
And we trust the medical system because we trust that they're gonna do what's best for us. And even though we have that limited time when they see us, is everything okay? Are you experiencing anything? You know, still, that's your time in there. You're paying for that. You know, make them listen. And if they don't, then do what Gaynelle did. Okay, I'm going to get somebody else who's going to listen to me, who's going to hear me, and not make it seem like I'm just, conjuring up these things that's going on with me.
Right, and I just keep coming back in with problems. And they're not listening to me.
Because they want to put a Band-Aid on it, because that keeps you
coming back. They want to put a Band-Aid, and that's exactly what they want to do. They want to hush you up. Just put a Band-Aid on you and hush you up.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Wow. Did you give us the website to your organization or how they can get connected?
It's on Facebook. It's a Touch of Grace Foundation, and you can just ask for an invite, and I'll let you in. And I think on LinkedIn, let me just look right quick. Instagram is Gaynelle Wright, and I think I'm on LinkedIn also as Gaynelle. It's Wright Gaynelle on Instagram, but LinkedIn is Gaynelle Wright, and then like I said, on Facebook is Touch of Grace Foundation.
What other ways are you giving back, Gaynelle?
And what other ways am I doing? What now? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
That's okay. Are you giving back to the community? What other ways are you giving back?
Oh, like I said, I volunteered with LBBC. Young Survivor Coalition. I volunteer with them. I'm actually an advocate for LBBC because I've done a lot of workshops for them. And I also give financially, and I give financially as well to those organizations. And it was another Brenda Brown, Bosom Buddies, and it's one that really helped me, and I can't even remember what the name of it was, but I haven't done anything with them, but I'm just branching out. Like I said, I've been in school, and now it's my time. It's a season for everything, so this is my season.
Yes. When you hear the word warrior, what comes to mind?
Resilient. Resilient comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to create the right mindset. You have to create the right mindset. That's why I was saying you have to be able to see it, to be able to achieve it.
Give the listeners some words of wisdom as it relates to keeping the faith through a breast cancer diagnosis.
You got to believe in yourself. Stay strong. Never, ever lose your faith. Never. Be grateful. A grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. Stay humble. Do less so that God can do more. Quit complaining. Quit comparing yourself to other people. Keep smiling. That's one thing I never lost was my smile. I still smile. Well, you got the biggest smile. Yes, I sure do. I have something to smile about. Live life with no regret, with purpose. Believe in yourself.
make sure that you guys are requesting Gaynelle as a friend on Facebook. Again, her organization is Touch of Grace Foundation. And she said all you have to do is ask for an invite. Stay connected with her. Gaynelle, thank you so much for just being vulnerable, coming on to share your wisdom, your experience. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I thank you so much for the opportunity. This was wonderful. And it was just wonderful. And I thank you, okay?
You're welcome. I will leave you with these words of wisdom. Don't confuse yourself. Your path with your destination. Just because it's stormy right now doesn't mean that you aren't headed for sunshine. Join me next Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. As always, this is Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.